Suppose a cereal company claims that each box contains 500 grams of cereal. You're a curious customer who suspects the boxes might be underfilled, so you decide to test it by weighing a few boxes. Here's the question. Based on a few samples of boxes, can you tell whether the company's claim is likely to be true or not? This is where hypothesis testing steps in. But wait, before we dive into it, let me be honest with you. Most textbooks make this topic unnecessarily difficult. They throw in strange terms, endless formulas, and confusing symbols. It's like they want you to memorize steps without actually understanding anything. But we're not going to do that here. I'm going to explain hypothesis testing the way it should have been explained from the start. All right, let's begin. In everyday language, a hypothesis is just a statement or a claim, like saying, "I think it's going to rain today," or "This restaurant always gives extra fries." In statistics, a hypothesis is a claim about something in the population. Now, what's a population? In statistics, during hypothesis testing, the population is not people in a country, but rather the entire group we're interested in. If you're testing cereal boxes, then your population is all the cereal boxes the company makes. You can't check every single box, so you test a sample. A sample is a smaller group chosen from the population. You weigh, say, 20 boxes, and use those results to draw conclusions about all the boxes. This, right here, is the central idea of statistics. Making smart guesses about a big group by looking at a small part of it. Now back to our example. The company claims each box has 500 grams of cereal. That's the claim we're going to test. In hypothesis testing, this claim is called the null hypothesis. It's written like this: H sub 0, and it represents the idea that nothing has changed or nothing is wrong. It's the default belief or the currently accepted value of a parameter. So here, our null hypothesis is that the average weight of a cereal box is equal to 500 grams. On the other side, we have the alternative hypothesis, which is what you suspect. This is called H sub 1, or sometimes H sub A. In our case, if you think they might be more or less, you don't know, but you think that it is not equal to 500, then you say the average is not equal to 500 grams. These two hypotheses, the null and the alternative, are always mathematical opposites. If one says equal, the other says not equal. If one says less than, the other says greater than or equal to. But here's the big question. How do you decide which hypothesis is more likely to be true? That's where we bring in sample data. You collect your 20 cereal boxes, weigh them, and calculate the average weight. Suppose it comes out to 490 grams. That's less than 500, sure. But is it different enough to say the company is wrong? Could it just be due to random chance? After all, if you randomly pick 20 boxes, you can't expect all of them to be exactly 500 grams. Some might be a little more, some a little less. That's natural. So now we ask, is 490 grams just a normal variation, or is it so far from 500 that it makes the company's claim suspicious? This is where hypothesis testing helps you decide. What we do next is compute something called a test statistic. Now don't worry, we're not going to do any math here. Just understand that a test statistic is a number that tells you how far your sample result is from what was claimed in the null hypothesis. If the test statistic shows that your sample average is very close to 500, you're probably going to believe the company. But if it's far away, say your sample average is 470 grams, then it's like a red flag. The further away your sample result is from what was expected, the more suspicious the claim becomes. And if it's far enough, we say the result is statistically significant. That's a fancy way of saying we're going to doubt the original claim. Now, here comes an important part. How far is far enough? How far does the result need to be from the expected value for us to say it's significant? That's decided by what we call the level of significance, or significance level. This is usually written as alpha and is just a small number, like 0.05 or 0.01. It represents how much risk you're willing to take when rejecting the null hypothesis. It's like setting a threshold. If your result crosses that threshold, you reject the null hypothesis. If not, you keep it. Now let's say your sample average comes out to 482 grams. You now wonder, is this huge difference in weight just due to random chance? Or is the company actually cheating us? Also, assume you kept a threshold of alpha equals 0.05. Now you compute the test statistic, and from that you compute something called a p-value, which, let us say, turns out to be 0.01. What does that mean? It means out of all the boxes in the universe that the company produces, only about 1 out of 100 would randomly come out this low if the true average is really 500 grams. In simple words, getting a difference of 18 grams is a big deal. It rarely happens if the true average is really 500 grams. Thus, you start doubting the company and hence reject the null hypothesis. You will say, I will investigate further and try on more and more samples. And if the pattern continues, if more samples also come out unusually lower weight, then I'll have even stronger evidence that the company isn't being honest, and the true average might really be less than 500 grams. But if the p-value turns out to be, say, 0.7, then assuming the company is honest, getting a result like yours has a 70% chance. It tells us that getting a difference of 18 grams is no big deal. It happens quite often, even if the true average is 500 grams. Just chill, bro. There's nothing suspicious yet. So you don't have strong enough evidence to doubt the company, and you fail to reject the null hypothesis. You might still be curious and decide to investigate further, collect more samples, run more tests. But unless the pattern becomes consistently very unusual, like getting extreme results over and over again, you won't have convincing evidence that the company is being dishonest. Note that we do not say that we accept the null hypothesis, we say we fail to reject the null hypothesis. That's on purpose. Because, just like in real life, the absence of evidence is not the same as proof. If you weigh 20 cereal boxes and they average 498 grams, it doesn't mean the company is definitely right. It just means you don't have enough evidence to prove them wrong. Now, before we wrap this up, here's something that trips people up. The result of your test depends not only on the sample average, but also on how many items you sampled. A sample average of 485 grams might not be significant if you only checked 5 boxes, but it might be significant if you checked 100. That's because bigger samples give more reliable results. So whenever you do hypothesis testing, both the size of the sample and the variation in data play a role in how strong your conclusion is. If this video gets 10,000 likes, then in the next video, you'll learn how to actually write hypotheses in different forms and calculate the test statistic using data. So good!